Are you interested in conspiracies, aliens, the Illuminati, Planet X, or how about some hard rock and heavy metal? If you want to believe, then come tune into the craziest show in the mountains, Manny's Rockin Conspiracies, Sundays at 6 p.m. on Power 90.5.
Basically, space aliens.
4 decades of rock.
Hello, kid. This is Alice Cooper.
Hello, this is Roger Taylor of Queen. Yeah, you got me. This is Billy Idol saying, rock out.
Halloween's Rock Station.
Power 90.5.
As they said in the film The Boondock Saints, it's St. Paddy's Day. Everybody's Irish today. Happy St. Patrick's Day, Western North Carolina and the Western North Carolina region and the beautiful campus of Western Carolina University. Hope you had a fantastic spring break, because it's time for the craziest show in the mountains. Live from the campus of Western Carolina University in beautiful Cullowhee, it's time for the craziest show in the mountains. I'm talking none other than Manny's Rockin Conspiracies, broadcasted throughout Jackson and Haywood Counties on WWCU FM, Power 90.5, and worldwide on WWCUFM.com. I am the one with the NWO hat, the one who wants to go to Area 51. I'm Manny, the host of the craziest show in the mountains. Like I said early on, hope you had a fantastic spring break if you were on spring break, whether you were in high school, middle school, elementary, college, community college. Hope you had a fantastic spring break wherever you may be. I myself had a nice one. It was very nice back home in beautiful Cameron, North Carolina. The only issue with that is Cameron weather is different from weather here in the mountains. So I had to say goodbye to beautiful 70-degree spring weather and hello to waking up to 29 degrees in March. But I'll get used to that once again as I adjust to things. Again, happy St. Patrick's Day. Hope you're having a fantastic Sunday, March 17th, 2019. Nothing much has happened with me, but last night, under the recommendation of a friend of mine, I decided to watch a documentary about the Flat Earth and the Flat Earth Society. It was suggested by Jay in the state of Washington. Now, let me preface this by saying that the beliefs expressed on this program are not my own beliefs, unless I specify, and the beliefs of WWCU FM. So, going forward, I'm not going to say the name of the documentary, but you can find it online. So, this documentary took a look into Mark Sargent, who's a member of the Flat Earth Society, and it eventually leads up to the first ever Flat Earth International Convention in beautiful Raleigh, North Carolina, which it's very interesting considering if you have been to Raleigh, there is a giant globe downtown. So it was a unique documentary. I finally sat down and watched it, and I got so many notes. I have so many notes just on this documentary. It was such an interesting experience, and I'll get into it more. Along with other things, in the second hour of our program, we're going to focus on a little bit more of the odd things out there, such as how a Vermont town has elected a goat as a mayor. Now, how that goat is going to effectively run the town will be up to speculation. A haunted dresser is up for sale in North Carolina, and a conspiracy survey in the United Kingdom revealed some concerns about the privacy of technology. All that and more here on Manny's Rockin Conspiracies. It's been a very unique week. Nothing much has happened beyond these conspiracies. I want to put this out real quick before I go any further. In the Flat Earth documentary that I was watching, one person in there was saying that the round Earth is sun worship. I don't know if that person is referring to the video game series of Dark Souls by praising the sun, but it is what it is. I'll get into more of these theories in the Flat Earth documentary and more later on. But first, let's get into some music. If you have any questions about the conspiracies here or any kind of request, be it music related or shout out, why don't you give me a call at 828-227-7173. Again, 828-227-7173. Kicking off the first hour is a very well-known hit. This is Blow Me Away from the Halo 2 soundtrack by Breaking Benjamin, one of their more well-known hits. You're listening to the craziest show in the mountains, Manny's Rockin Conspiracies, here on WWCU FM, the broadcast service of Western Carolina University, Power 90.5. Welcome back to Manny's Rockin Conspiracies, only on WWCU FM, broadcasting throughout Jackson and Haywood Counties in beautiful Western North Carolina, and worldwide online at WWCUFM.com. I'm your host, Manny, and before I go into my next thing on the Flat Earth documentary, I have a foolproof guide so that you don't get pinched on St. Patrick's Day. You've probably been there, right? You've walked into your place of work, school, what have you, and you realize as soon as you walk in, you're not wearing green. Well, listen, I have the perfect method to do this, and I do this myself. This morning, because I have literally no green clothing, I took a green highlighter and drew a green square, a rectangle, actually, to say rectangle, and I put it on my hand. So that means I'm technically wearing green. It's a foolproof method. You should try it out yourself. So, back to the Flat Earth documentary. Get this up here. So I'm talking about Flat Earth, the Flat Earth documentary I watched. My friend Isaac in Alabama would call this the space waffles, which apparently, according to Chandler Reese, who's been on this program before, they go very well with vinegar. So let's talk about what exactly was in this documentary. Well, it showed how some people came to believe in the flat earth. And it was very unique that it showed why they believe in this theory. It showed their mindsets. And they didn't just have people from the Flat Earth Society and flat earthers there. They also had physicists, astrophysicists. They had actual scientists there, and their perspective into flat Earth was very unique. Of course, they're against that theory, but they had a very unique perspective. And it feels, and they presented it, it feels as though a lot of conspiracy theorists, they base their belief in any such conspiracy on subjective experiences to some degree. What was interesting a lot for this documentary was the fact that it showed a lot of infighting. Now, I've talked about the Flat Earth in this program and how there was a Flat Earth convention in the United Kingdom, and they had disagreements on the shape of the Earth. One person apparently at a panel said that it was a diamond held up by pillars. Well, they don't really go over that in the film, but they discuss these two factions, if you will. And these two factions are apparently people that believe that the Earth is flat and we are in a dome. The moon and the sun are just scrolling over us, and space is like a projection, I guess. And the other is that space is apparently fake in this theory, but apparently the flat Earth is infinite. The flat Earth is basically an infinite plane, according to some theorists. According to both, space is fake in this theory, and the space session system again. Now, if you're just tuning in, we're talking about flat Earthers and a documentary I watched. Now, I don't believe these theories, so just a disclaimer. So the infighting was quite interesting, and it didn't get into which shape the Earth is and if it's infinite or we're in a dome or not. Mark Sargent, who I mentioned earlier, who originally started out trying to debunk the flat Earth, but then became a flat earther himself. In fact, he is one of the more well-known flat earthers in the world. He was accused by this one person who has claimed to have been the starter of it all, who was a NASA artist, that Mark Sargent works for Warner Brothers and is played by an actor, and that the Flat Earth Society has been infiltrated by actors. Another person that was presented in the documentary was Patricia Steer, a YouTuber who is basically a reporter on the Flat Earth, if you will. She was accused of being a reptilian because, of course, you cannot have any global conspiracy without the reptilians. And she was accused of being in the CIA, or Central Intelligence Agency. Now, you might be wondering what Patricia Steer has to do with being in the CIA. Well, it's the last three letters of her name. Patricia. CIA. So apparently, she's in the CIA. There's even a part of the documentary which I found very, very entertaining. Was Patricia Steer and Mark Sargent, they go to Houston, Texas, and they visit NASA. That's pretty interesting. And later on, it shows Sargent going to see the eclipse, which, if you were here in Cullowhee or along Jackson County for that reason, you got to see the eclipse, the beautiful eclipse 2 years ago on the first day of school here at Western Carolina University. Well, he claims that it was self-eclipsing. And the fact, apparently, this is just by the film, that it's self-eclipsing and there's no evidence of it, of there's being a moon. So the one part that I loved about this part was they were being scientific. There was some flat earthers that were actually launching a weather balloon into space just to see the eclipse. Now, I know the flat earth theory gets derided for being anti-scientific, but this was interesting to me because when I think of the flat earth, I used to think, oh, these are armchair detectives that are just sitting on their computers, getting all their evidence from YouTube and all these places. According to the documentary, it's actually the case. They're actually trying to test it. There was a flat earther when I started the show in 2017. He was trying to self-finance a rocket for him to launch into the atmosphere to prove the Earth is flat. Now, as far as I know, he never got that far to launching, and the launch was actually a failure. But it goes to show that sometimes these theorists that they claim to be anti-scientific, they're actually trying to test through the scientific method. But what saddened me the most about this theory was how some flat earthers have been ostracized and been shamed over their beliefs. One in the documentary I told about how some members of their family just don't talk to him anymore over his belief of the earth being flat. While I have said in this program that the flat earth theory is one I do not subscribe to, people shouldn't be shamed for believing in conspiracies. There was actually a part in the documentary where they show a science meeting, and this physicist was actually saying, like, we shouldn't shame them. We should talk to them because they're testing through the scientific method. And the physicist Spiro Michalakis in the documentary actually said the problem was not the Flat Earth Society, but people in the scientific community. He's quoted as saying, the worst case scenario is you just completely push these individuals to the fringe of society, believing that empathy rather than shaming is needed, and then society has just lost them. End quote. That's just the truth here. I mean, the flat earth, I think, is an easily mockable theory. But what do you think? Should flat earthers be mocked over their beliefs? Why don't you let me know over the phone? 828-227-7173. Again, 828-227-7173. I'll tell you more about the scientific part of the documentary. But first, let's get back to some music. This is You Spin Me Right Round by Dope. You're listening to Manny's Rockin Conspiracies on WWCU FM, Power 90.5.
I'm hooked on a feeling. I'm high on believing that you're in love with me. Lips as sweet as candy.
Welcome back to Manny's Rockin Conspiracies here on WWCU FM, the broadcast service of Western Carolina University. Power 90.5, broadcasting throughout Jackson and Haywood Counties in beautiful Western North Carolina and worldwide on WWCUFM.com. It's time to go back to the Flat Earth documentary I was talking about throughout this first hour. But first, if you want to keep up with whatever's happening with me on campus, what if I'm baking something in the oven? What if I'm trying to find out about the Cherokee Little People or trying to investigate if there was a UFO somewhere? You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram under this username at MannyRadioDurg. At Manny Radio Durg. Give me a follow there. And again, if you have any conspiracies or requests that you'd like to see me fill, call me during the breaks at 828-227-7173. Again, 828-227-7173. When we left off in this flat Earth documentary, I was talking about how some flat Earth theorists have been shamed over their belief. And I said that what surprised me was the testing of their theories. Now, a major part of the documentary also focuses on the trip to Raleigh, North Carolina, which I have been to test to the Flat Earth Conference there. So, the documentary picks up on a man named of Jaron Campanella, who runs a show called Globebusters. I'll admit, that's a perfect title for your show. If you're talking about the Flat Earth, Globebusters. Let's just hope that Bill Murray doesn't come out with a copyright claim on you. So, with Bob Nodell, who's another flat earther, basically, they get a group of scientists and engineers to conduct, to try and, I say, discount that the Earth is curved. Now, this is a big part of the documentary. So, they do one experiment, which they test the rotation of the Earth. So, Nodell explains that if the Earth is spinning at one rotation every 24 hours, that means every hour it has to turn 15 degrees. So, what they do is they purchase a gyroscope, but not just any gyroscope, a top-of-the-line ring laser gyroscope, which amounts to $20,000. So they want to see, well, let's see if it does turn 15 degrees every 24 hours. Now, again, this is some scientific testing. One is a hypothesis that it may not happen, and they get the materials to test it, and they're about to test it. I like that. So here's the thing. They got this gyroscope. and they found a drift at 15 degrees per hour, which would conclusively prove that the world is rotating on an axis and not flat. Though they quickly go to try and discount that and disprove it. So they go through all these different ways of hiding the gyroscope in like certain materials to try and see if that would change the results. Again, scientific, putting under certain controls and applying that control, and that's very scientific. So now, here's the one that I thought was hilarious. So the experiment that was shown in the last part of the film was, so what they do is they try using lasers over distances of 3 miles. Basically, the theory is that if the laser cuts across 3 separate points at the same height, it would prove the Earth is flat. However, they weren't able to figure that out. So around the ending of the documentary, this is what their experiment is. They take these wooden planks and they put holes in them about 17 feet high. And they're each 3 miles apart. Now, one of them has a camera. And here's how this experiment works. Again, this is scientific. I will admit this is pretty scientific stuff. So what they do is, the theory is that if they hold the light exactly at 17 feet and it goes through all the holes completely, then it would conclude that the Earth is flat. However, if the guy holding the light holds it at 17 feet and the light does not shine through, then that means that person is going to have to lift their light over their heads to 23 feet in height. And if that shows, then that means Earth is round, we're on an axis, end of story. And they're trying to figure out, like, so you're seeing no light? Hold the light up for me real quick. And they hold the light up, and guess what? There's light. And the one guy goes, that is interesting. And the next part of the whole thing that ends it talks about how they're now trying to disprove of that conclusion. Again, I really do think that the flat Earth, I have a new perspective on them because they're not. I used to think of them as like armchair truthers trying to find information on YouTube and nothing's working. That's how I used to think of it. Now I think that they actually want to test it and want people to research it. That's a good thing. You should always look for curious, inquisitive minds. That is a wonderful quality to look out for. However, in terms of science, when you find a conclusion, it's going to get tested over and over again to find if it's verifiable, and you can repeat that experiment and get the same or similar results. That's when something becomes scientific law. So when they get a conclusion, they try and deny it, which I can agree, like, test it more. But if you keep testing it and you come to the same exact conclusion, then I'm pretty sure NASA is not messing with that light, not messing with the camera, and the Earth is round. I feel as though a lot of flat earthers seek a confirmation bias, where they try and find information that makes them look correct and make them seem correct. So overall, the Flat Earth documentary that I watched last night, again, suggested by Jay in the state of Washington, was a very, very interesting documentary that I learned a lot from that one. It makes me realize, why didn't I try and go up to Raleigh for the first Flat Earth convention? That would have been amazing. I would have been a better guest than Logan Paul was at the second one in Denver, Colorado, which is already known for all sorts of conspiracies. Again, if you have any comments about a conspiracy theory, any requests, or you just want to talk to me in studio, give me a call at 828-227-7173. Again, 828-227-7173. Let's get back to the music. This was a song that's been played when My friend Dan is here. By the way, Dan from The Edge, Thursdays, 8 10 p.m. right here on WWCU FM. This is Aliens Exist by the punk rock band Blink-182. You're listening to Manny's Rockin Conspiracies, only on WWCU FM, the broadcast service of Western Carolina University. Power 90.5. It's the 7 o'clock. Numa here on Manny's Rockin Conspiracies. You will be all the flat earth stuff's out of the way. That was a very, very fun previous hour for sure. This hour we're going to focus on some very odd news stories. I mentioned them at the top of the hour, but it'll get very, very unique soon. Anyway, so here's the first story that I found that was very unique. But before that, it's that time in the show where I ask one simple question.
What do I do, Lord? Destroy the child. Corrupt them all. This is their plan, people. These are demons.
And apologies on that if I accidentally messed your name. That was my bad. On the level, that was my bad there. So, let's explain this story out here. So, in Vermont, a town has elected a goat as their mayor. You heard me right. A goat as their mayor. It is in the town of Fairhaven, which actually has no human mayor. They got candidates with a $5 application fee. So it had dogs and cats, and even a gerbil made the ticket. The goat, whose name is Lincoln, eked out a win with 13 votes over Sammy the dog. He was sworn in on Tuesday, March 11th, and will serve a 1-year term. She will march in the Memorial Day Parade with a custom-made sash and also be expected to appear at local events such as Fairhaven Fridays and the annual Spring Fling. The town manager commented, "Originally we did it as a fundraiser to replace the playground behind the school, but it really turned into a small civic lesson for the children." That's not a bad idea, to be honest with you. Now, let me just ask this for the community here at Western Carolina University and across North Carolina, and to whomever may be listening across the world, in our country, wherever you may be listening into this program. If a Vermont town can get a goat elected as mayor, mind you, mayor, then again, a town in Tennessee actually had the wrestler Kane is a mayor. I met him. He's awesome. But that's the topic. So if a Vermont town can elect a goat as their mayor, and a former professional wrestler in the WWE can become a mayor in Knox County, Tennessee, nothing against that. I think that the last one's pretty good. Why can't Pause the Catamount become the new chancellor of Western Carolina University? Think about it real quick. This is Paul talking about here. He's got energy, a love for this community, this campus, a love for WCU. I'll tell you one thing, Pause is very focused on making Western great. Hence why there was the campaign Belcher Pause 2016, because who wouldn't run one with Pause? I mean, this is the time. No, this is the time. Pause for the chancellor this year. Hope so. Pause for chancellor. Pause for chancellor, guys. Come on. If we can get a goat to be a mayor in Vermont, and a professional wrestler can become a mayor in Tennessee, and a professional wrestler can become a governor in Minnesota in the 90s, then I think Pause could be chancellor. I think so. What do you think? Why don't you give me a call at 828-227-7173. Again, 828-227-73. Ugh. I got more stories for you when we come back, such as a conspiracy survey in the United Kingdom, a haunted dresser has gone for sale in North Carolina, and whatever else I may find. The flat earth portion is over. We're getting into the supernatural here, ladies and gentlemen. Up next is Full Moon by Sonata Arctica. You're listening to Manny's Rockin Conspiracies on WWCU FM, the broadcast service of Western Carolina University. Power 90.5. We're back on Manny's Rockin Conspiracies here on Power 90.5, Cullowhee's classic rock station. Real quick, here's a story from North Carolina. The Habitat for Humanity Restore in Salisbury is suggesting a dresser that was carved in the 1950s by hand and as part of a two-piece set. But there is a warning about this object, however. Apparently, the previous owner informed the Habitat for Humanity that it comes with a spirit of some kind. The shop's notice explained that the unnamed man reported continuous nightmares for he and his wife while it was in their room. Additionally, it would appear that the couple were not alone and they're tormented by whatever sinister energy was attached to the piece, as they also claimed that the dogs would not stop barking at it. So, first we had a haunted couch in Waco, Texas, of all places, and now in Salisbury, there's a haunted dresser. So, you never know what you're going to find out there. Let's get back to the music real quick. I had a caller request a song by the Allman Brothers. Thank you so much for listening to WWCU FM, the broadcast service of Western Carolina University. And just for you, this is Midnight Rider by the Allman Brothers Band. You're listening to Manny's Rockin' Conspiracies on WWCU FM, the broadcast service of Western Carolina University, Power 90.5. Welcome back to Manny's Rockin' Conspiracies, only on WWCU FM, the broadcast service of Western Carolina University, Power 90.5. During the break, I was searching for some other conspiracy because I'm running a little thin on news stories. I should have probably found some more. I found one that really caught my eye. Now, I don't delve much into theories about the current president, Mr. Donald Trump, just because I just don't really want to. But this one, oh my goodness, this one is a very odd one for sure. It's called the fake Melania conspiracy. Donald Trump tweeted out on March 13th, quote, "The fake news photoshopped pictures of Melania, then propelled conspiracy theories that it's actually not her by my side in Alabama and other places. They're only getting more deranged with time." So here's how the theory goes, is that during some appearances, a body double has filled in for Mrs. Trump, the First Lady. And apparently it's not based on photoshopped images, but real images of Melania compared to older ones. It first appeared on social media in the fall of 2017. Hey, that's right around the time of when I started this show. What do you know? A Twitter user basically posted side-by-side photos and video clips to put forward the case that the woman appeared by the Donald is not Melania. This is because the White House in this administration is not very transparent. So I could see, asking questions, but if it's a body double, this isn't Paul is dead. This is, I don't get this. Oh my Lord. Excuse me. The conspiracy theory gained steam following Trump. I can't English. So it gained steam when Trump went to Alabama last Friday. And there's a picture on my computer which shows President Trump with the cross of tornado victims. someone tweeted, "This is 100% not Melania Trump that Donald Trump is holding hands with." So why? Sometimes I feel, there are some conspiracy theorists that actually, they go out and they want to learn the truth. They want to find the truth. They go out there. Alex Jones in the year 2000 was so convinced that the Bohemian Club was like a meeting ground for the New World Order that in the year 2000, he actually infiltrated the place, the Bohemian Grove, and filmed the entire cremation of Care, where they basically do a mock sacrifice in front of a giant owl statue. He did that. He actually went in there, undercover film and everything, and did that in California. Flat Earthers, for example, I used to think of them as like armchair theorists that just sit on their computer. It's not true at all. They're actually investigating it scientifically, as shown in the documentary I watched. So there's one thing to actually going out there and investigating the truth behind whatever conspiracy that you may believe in. But then there's just trying to find a conspiracy to find a conspiracy. That's what gets me. That's what I used to believe that you should find the truth. Hence why my dream vacation is to go to Area 51. Someday, I tell you, I will go to Area 51. Someday. Are there aliens? I don't know. I guess I will find out soon. Let's get back to the music. This song was requested by Tim and Rez, who are currently listening into the program. Hope you two are having a very fantastic evening and hope the rest of your week gets a whole lot better. This is Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen. Now, I just have one question to ask you. Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy? You're listening to Manny's Rockin Conspiracies on WWCU FM, Power 90.5. You're listening to Manny's Rockin Conspiracies only on WWCU FM, broadcasting throughout Jackson and Haywood Counties in beautiful western North Carolina and worldwide on WWCUFM.com. My computer just died on me, so I'm gonna have to start pulling up stuff on my phone. Something about my computer charger. I think the reptilians hacked into my phone, my computer charger, I should say, and that's why it's messing up. So here is a story out of the United Kingdom. I mentioned earlier in the program. UK conspiracy survey reveals surprising tech concerns. Basically, shouldn't say basically, but what happened here was a study was done by a mobile phone insurance company, which, first of all, what is a mobile phone insurance company doing asking people, do you believe in conspiracy theories? It just seems so weird to me. So they polled 1,000 people and asked whether or not they subscribed to an array of controversial topics. And some would focus on your usual targets, the JFK assassination, UFOs. But the one that was really big with the survey was conspiracies related to tech. Here's from the article from Tim Banal of Coast to Coast AM. Basically, 35% of those surveyed, the top conspiracy, 35% believed that the top conspiracy was Google spying on its users. 1 in 5 people said that they thought cameras on computers and cell phones were used by the government to eavesdrop on people. Health concerns regarding technology was 18% on the list, and respondents believed that sleeping next to their cell phone could result in some kind of sickness. Some other theories was that Instagram listens to users to develop targeted advertising and that genealogy companies are a proverbial front for government DNA data collection. Well then, I've heard that last one because I've heard the theory that you sending your DNA to get tested on one of those sites that have popped up recently. I'm not going to say the name of one, but I believe you know what I'm talking about, is a recipe for the government to clone you. Now, I don't believe in this again, but it's a very, very unique theory. Also in this, half of the top 10 conspiracy theories mentioned by respondents involve privacy concerns or, this is quoting, surreptitious dangers connected to technology. There were additional ideas that didn't make the chart, such as the 10-year challenge, which I talked about this program. Basically, if you don't know the conspiracy behind that, the 10-year challenge, the conspiracy behind that is that posting a picture of you 10 years ago and you in the present day is basically Facebook using facial recognition software and to test it out. But I do think that is very interesting what has been found out. And if the government is spying on me through the phone, it makes me think what they're saying. Are they going to tell the Donald, like, okay, Mr. Trump, the man is on the air on WWCU. You got to listen, and he's going to talk about the flat earth today. I don't know if that happens or not. Does Sarah Huckabee Sanders prepare a statement about what I'm saying? Yeah, we believe that Manny's saying that Jay-Z's a time-traveling vampire is not true, and we're going to... It just makes me wonder what government's eavesdropping for. Also, I'm watching you, NSA. I see you in that camera. I see you. I'm watching you. I'm not trying to get into my Alex Jones impressions right now. Because there is something I don't want. I don't want war. Let's get back to the music. If you got any conspiracy theory or anything you want to say here in studio on the phone, give me a call at 828-227-7173. Also, to keep up with what I do, whether it be conspiracy related or trying to get Paws to be the new chancellor, give me a call. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram that may or may not be spying on me at Manny Radio Derg. This is a cover of Michael Jackson's Smooth Criminal by Alien Ant Farm. You're listening to Manny's Rockin Conspiracies on WWCU FM, the broadcast service of Western Carolina University, Power 90.5. This has been Manny's Rockin Conspiracies, the craziest show in the mountains, only on WWCU FM, Power 90.5. I said again, Power 90.5. Sounds a little better. Again, if you want to keep up with what I'm doing all around campus, whether I'm baking or putting on tinfoil hats, follow me on Twitter at Manny Radio Derg and on Instagram under that exact same username. Want to give a quick shout out to Draken, Tim, and Rez for being wonderful listeners of the program today. Thank you for tuning in to the craziest show in the mountains. I'm Manny. This has been Manny's Rockin' Conspiracies. And until the next time we meet here in the wee, word up. Coming up next.
What is that joke? What is that? What is that? Humanity's going to come together. Ah! Ah! We know we're under attack. We know it. We're breaking the conditioning. Ah! Ah! We're coming for you, globalist. Ah! Coming for you. Coming for you.
We came, we saw, we died.
We're gonna break your will, Hillary. We already have.
We came.
Because they're so scared. Oh God, the Midwest, maybe I've got guns. Oh my God. And more blood. I never sucked any ding-dongs.